and welcome to 5 Things to Know, a Tax Talk Today exclusive. I'm joined today by Mel Hardy. Mel has nearly 20 years of his service within the IRS and in his 5th year as Director of IRS Office of National Public Liaison. Mel, on behalf of our viewers, it's my pleasure to welcome you to Tax Talk Today, where IRS representatives and tax industry leaders come together to share their knowledge and experiences working in federal tax law. I'd like to start the conversation by asking, Mel, can you give us an overview of the mission and responsibilities of the Office of National Public Liaison?
Well, first of all, thank you, Alan, for the opportunity to chat with you today and your viewers. You know, the NPL, the National Public Liaison Office, we call it NPL, it really works to create and promote dialogue with our external stakeholders and associations. And we really are a conduit, if you will, Alan, for folks to come in and if they have an interest or an issue, they're able to use our office to sort of voice that. And so we serve as the IRS official liaison to large tax professional organizations. I'll just mention a few. There are a lot, but just to give your audience an idea of that, the ABA, the American Bar Association, and the American Bankers Association. So 2 ABAs in there, the AICPA, NAEA. So a lot of your national tax professional associations. And what we do is we manage all those internal and external stakeholder relationships by really proactively and strategically partnering with them and asking them, to give us their feedback on different issues.
Well, great. As you noted, we know community outreach is important to the service. What are some partnerships that NPL has, and how do you reach out to the broader tax professional and preparer communities?
So that's actually a great question, because we have several different, let's say, tools and mechanisms that we use. Of course, the e-news for tax professionals, utilizing social media, getting things out that way. But we also expand our reach to other associations. So we'll use our national partners to sort of help us with those issues, but then we will also ask them, are there other folks that really need to come to the table, different organizations, different associations? And sometimes that conversation, if you will, Alan, generates a lot of discussion around, okay, well, we know that there are national partners. Are there any local partners? How do we connect with local liaison or stakeholder liaisons? That's always a great question, because the stakeholder liaisons really work at the local level with practitioners. And so getting them connected with stakeholder liaison is good. Derek Ganter is my counterpart. He's the director. So I'll share some information of how perhaps tax professionals can connect, if you will, with their local stakeholder liaison. But we always are looking for new partnerships. So I try to bring as many folks to the table as possible and be transparent with that. So you may have organizations that have let's say, a stronger bent in different multicultural communities. They may be focused primarily on helping the underserved. And so in the past, those organizations, those types of groups didn't really interact with NPL, but we have found over the years that I've been the director that expanding to different groups has really proven to be a great benefit, because they are then able to interact with other associations and get really, really good help.
Well, that's great. When a tax professional would like to find out who their local liaison is, how is the best way for them to find that out?
Probably the best way, Alan, for tax professionals is to go through, the IRS National Public Liaison or the Stakeholder Liaison Office. So what I will offer to you, Alan, for your viewers is a link directly to the Stakeholder Liaison Office and a link directly to my office, National Public Liaison. So then folks are able to just navigate directly and be able to connect with who they want to.
Well, that's fantastic. We do appreciate that. Now, you'd mentioned a minute ago about underprivileged taxpayers, there are many tax professionals who don't speak English as their first language. As you can imagine, practicing tax is all the more challenging for this group. What are some ways that NPL reaches out and serves these professionals?
Our current commissioner, Chuck Reddick, has taken this on as a personal initiative. He has a absolutely tremendous story that he tells, where he actually connects with the tax pro community and the community at large. I won't go into it. I couldn't do it justice, but his wife is a Vietnamese refugee, and he tells that story, and it's just a very impactful story. So he starts off from a position of he understands. And then during his tenure, he has really pushed the organization to think outside the box with reaching different communities, not just the standards, which we normally do, because this was the first year that the 1040 was out in Spanish. But Alan, as you and I both know, there are other languages, Farsi, Creole, French Creole, and even with Spanish, oftentimes you'll print something or put something out, and perhaps someone from Colombia has a different interpretation of that Spanish than someone, say, from Puerto Rico or Cuba. So we are constantly, looking for ways to interact with the communities. And this commissioner, through his initiative with what we call the multilingual initiative, we've already had 3 summits, multilingual summits, where we have invited a wide array of organizations, the Chinese commerce, the Vietnamese tax professionals in Fort Lauderdale, just a huge group, and told them about the different things that the IRS offers, invited them to give us their feedback on what they need from the community. So it's very interactive. The other thing that Commissioner Reddick has done is tapped, he's 36 years as a tax professional attorney, so he has a huge Rolodex, and he has tapped others that he knows to help get the multilingual and multicultural initiative out. So he has friends all over the country that have actually taken it upon themselves to get multicultural messages out to communities that they work in, and is proven to be very, very successful. And he's also pushed most of the agency into looking at how do we reach these different communities, these disparate communities, and not just multilingual, also those that are, shall we say, disadvantaged, the disabled and, low income, rural. So, yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. It's interesting also that we have the ability to request the language of our choice starting this tax season for any subsequent notices that come out. Right. I think this is really a positive move for the tax practitioner as well as the taxpayer community. Yes. How do you recommend that tax professionals get involved with NPL? And are there any special opportunities for tax professionals to share their voice within the government?
So another great question, and another reason why I wanted to come on and have this conversation with you today, Alan, is, like I said, we want to cast a broad net. We want as many folks to take advantage and partner, if you will, with NPL. And every month we have what we call an NPL monthly meeting, where we have a wide array of those tax professional associations that I mentioned and the other tax professionals that we have invited to be a part of it. And we will always have subject matter experts. We have the leadership. All of the business operating division commissioners have spoken. In fact, we have a meeting coming up next Thursday, will be the next NPL monthly meeting, and Wage and Investment Commissioner Ken Corbin will be talking about where we are with the filing season. There have been a lot of questions about level of service. He'll speak to that. And then Andy Kiso, who is the Director of Appeals, will be on. So, Alan, that gives you a sense of every month we try to put together a great program, and that's a separate branch chief, Larry Mosblack, and his team that does that. And so they scour the agency to find out what are the hot topics, what are the issues that the community wants to hear from. We also solicit information from our partners, saying, what are you hearing? What do you want us to bring to you? Another great way for folks to get involved is through our nationwide tax forums that are coming up. Last year, we had to switch pivot and do it virtual, which was tremendously successful. We even had a virtual expo hall. So
Wow.
much like you go to a convention and you go downstairs at the convention hall, we were still able to keep that feeling of a convention hall with a virtual expo hall. And again, we'll have to do it again this year, and we're the dates will be coming up very soon. We've already made that announcement. So to your question, how can folks get involved? They can also attend our nationwide tax forums, and in attending the nationwide tax forums, not only do they get to interact with other tax professionals, but they can meet some of their continuing education credits. So it's a win-win-win-win-win, Alan.
Great, great. Thank you. Now, any final thoughts, important messages that you'd like to share with the tax professional and preparer communities?
You know, I would say, and I think you would agree, that the last year, and probably even before, has been very challenging for the tax community at large. Ken Corbin, the Wage and Investment Commissioner, who will be speaking next Thursday, likes to always reference it as the tax ecosystem, and I like that terminology because it's not just the tax professionals, the taxpayers, it's everybody. The software industry, it's been extremely difficult, but I think that everybody has been very, shall we say, understanding, working hard. We've had a sort of condensed tax season this year. We got started late, and it's just been very challenging. But I think working together, communicating, explaining what everybody needs, and being realistic and managing expectations is really where we go forward to 2022 and hopefully back to some sense of normalcy.
Well, Mel, this has been fantastic. I'd like to thank you for joining us today on 5 Things to Know. On behalf of our viewers, I'd like to thank you again for your years of service with the IRS, particularly as Director of the Office of National Public Liaison. We hope to see you again soon on Tax Talk Today, hopefully in our studio, back live.
That would be nice.
I'd like to thank our viewers for watching, and as always, it's been great learning with you.